Hello and welcome to the deep dive, and I am thrilled to say today in partnership with our friends Stathead. As you know, we've been using FBref for years on the channel as our #1 resource for all things football statistics, and they've just released a new feature utilising all of the data in FBref. It is Stathead. It's currently in beta, and right now it's completely free to use, so no credit card required. So what is Stathead? Well, for a start, it is powered by FBref, and it is your keys to the most comprehensive public football database on the internet. Essentially, it's a sports search engine. Check it out, stathead.com. Link is in the description. After last week's show about how we replaced Mo Salah during January, it prompted me to think about how we could replace Mo long term, and that's where Stathead comes in. So on today's show, we're going to try and statistically scout our long-term replacement for Mo. So Josh, where do we start? Of course, we're going to start with FBref. If you wanted to statistically scout Mo Salah, I suppose the first place you've got to start is Mo Salah's stats. So we're going to take a look at Mo Salah on FBref now. We're going to try and I'm going to get your opinion on which stats we can use here. So looking at his scouting report on FBref, you can see that in front of you right now. What are some of the stats that you think make Mo Salah Mo Salah?
Well, to be honest, I think a lot of it's just, what you'd expect, really. I think if you look at him, he's kind of that goal-scoring wide forward, isn't he, for Liverpool? So there's a few certain statistics, few metrics that kind of are associated with that sort of thing, such as non-penalty goals, non-penalty expected goals, shots, assists, non-penalty expected goals plus expected assists, shot creating actions, and probably touches in the penalty box as well. Salah generally does well in all of those. I think one he doesn't do so well, and which you might be a bit surprised about, is his dribbles. I think a lot of people associate him with being really explosive and difficult to handle on the dribble and things like that, but he doesn't actually do that very often. He focuses on the end product, really, doesn't he? Yeah,
absolutely. So, okay, well, I think the one way I've used Stathead now for a few weeks, as I say, it's been in beta and stuff. I'm really enjoying it, and how I've sort of got my head around it, and this will be interesting to do with you as well, because you're coming at it with a fresh set of eyes, so I'm getting to show Stathead off to you as well, which is pretty cool. The way that I've thought about it is, when you're playing footy manager and you're looking for a centre forward or you're looking for a player and you've got their abilities and the attributes and stuff like that, I'm looking at this going, right, you start off, don't you? 15, 15, 15, 15, finishing, creativity, decisions, pace, all that type of stuff, and then disappointingly no players come up.
Steven Gerrard, maybe.
Steven Gerrard, maybe, yeah. Mo Salah might come up in this instance as well. And then you go 14, 14, 14, 14, 14. I think the footy manager player in me wants to do this with Stathead. So that's what I'm going to take you down the path with today. So we're going to start off, and I'm just going to show you. I'm going to go quite easily and quickly over to Stathead here. You can see it. There's a few different ways that you can build it. You can do a season finder, a match finder by player, or you can do a team season finder or a team's match finder. So I'm going to start off with a player's season finder. That is just loaded up now, and you can see here what we've got in front of us is a list of players sorted by goals, essentially, and unsurprisingly, Erling Haaland's there because we are just talking about goals in a single season. You can do this with anything. You can check back to see how many assists a player of under 21 has got, who's got the most assists under 21 in their career and all this type of stuff. There's loads you can do on here. But we want to try and replicate Mo Salah. So you said non-penalty expected goals. So I'm going to start with the season. I'm going to go, let's go this season. I'm going to go big 5 European leagues. I'd probably just take the goalkeeper, defender and midfielder off, so we're just left with the forward. So you said non-penalty goals, so we can add that in, no problem. And Salah's was 0.53.
Yeah.
So we're going to put that in at 0.5. We're going to put non-penalty expected goals, and his was 0.48, so let's say I'll put 0.4 in there.
Very similar, by the way.
Yeah.
0.48 expected goals and then 0.53 goals. That just shows the value of the metric, really.
Yeah, it does, yeah. Certainly to Salah.
Yeah.
What would that be if it was Darwin Núñez?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. Probably half as much.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, it is what it is, isn't it? So assists, we'll put in 0.4 because Salah's is 0.42. Non-penalty goals plus expected assists, nice and easy. Salah's is 0.83, so we'll put in 0.8. And then I'm going to go with, what did you say?
Touches in the penalty box.
Touches in the penalty box.
And shot creating actions as well.
Shot creating action, okay, well I can see shot creating actions, so we'll do that one first. Shot creating actions is 4.08, so we'll go to 4. And touches in the attack and penalty box. Look how many you can filter by the way, that's unbelievable, isn't it? Right, touches in the penalty box, Mo's is 8.34. I'm going to knock it down to 5 to give the others a chance. Right, let's see if we can get anyone other than just Mo Salah. Okay, we've got our 2 players. That's our short list of players who can replace Mo Salah.
I actually think that's a really good shout, by the way.
It's a brilliant shout.
Leroy Sanay's actually been linked, and he's left-footed. Top player, really fast, creative, scores goals. It's a good shout.
I would have loved him a few years ago.
Yeah, how old is he now? Out of interest?
27.
Oh yeah, the boat sailed, didn't it?
I think the boat sailed because you're probably looking at £100+ million to get him out from Bayern Munich. 27 years old. But statistically, clearly, he's the only player that comes anywhere near Mo Salah.
And that's this season, is it?
That's this season.
Yeah.
Shall we open it up to multiple seasons?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, so rather than just this season, I'll go back 2 years, get results. Now, Mo might pop up more than once in this, which he does, because they're counted as 2 separate seasons, see there?
Yeah.
That was his 21-22 season, and this was his 23-24 season. So the 2 seasons with Liverpool were last good, essentially. Obviously, last season we weren't. That is a hell of a list of players, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I'd expect every single one of our viewers to know all of those players. If not, I mean, you're doing something wrong.
So Benzema, Mbappe, 2 Salah seasons. Leroy Sané and Lionel Messi.
Yeah, serious list.
Youngest player on that list is Kylian Mbappe, unsurprisingly. Probably plays on the wrong side for us anyway.
Again, he's linked though.
He's always linked.
He's linked if you want to believe them, like.
The whole thing. Do you remember what year it started?
I know, it's a nightmare.
It was Mbappe 2020.
Yeah, it started when he was 9, didn't it?
Absolutely ridiculous. Okay, so we're not going to find a young player that's probably achievable with these statistics. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think a lot of it, to be fair, stems from Salah playing for Liverpool. And, you know, Liverpool really dominant side. They give him these opportunities in the final third and things like that. Whereas, if we're trying to find the next Mo Salah, he's going to be playing for a team beneath Liverpool in the football and food chain, maybe not benefiting from as much in the attacking third, but still a decent amount. So that's probably where then you would do what you said on Football Manager, bring the numbers down a touch, still to the extent where they're, you know, the players highlighting himself, but not really to the extent that he's leveling with Mo Salah, an absolute output merchant for the team at the top of the Premier League at the minute.
Okay, well, let's try and do that then. So, show criteria again, really easy to do. This time, would you open it up to more than just big 5 European leagues? Or should we just look at that to begin with?
I probably would, yeah, but it's up to you.
Let's leave it like that for now. I'll knock this down, non-penalty goals to, well, let's take 0.15 off it. Knock it down to 0.35. 0.25. Shots, we knock that down to 2. Assists, 0.25. Non-penalty goals was just 0.5. Maybe knock shot creating actions down to 2. And touches in the penalty area down to, say, 3. Should we filter by age?
Yeah.
What would you say the max age is, like 25?
25, yeah, wouldn't go beyond that. Even that's a push, to be fair, considering it's supposed to be a long-term replacement, but probably fair. Yeah, one name definitely sticks out, and it's Darwin Núñez, isn't it? That doesn't surprise me though, you know, it really doesn't. I think he's always been that kind of player, that explosive numbers player, you know, end product merchant. Even though his product sometimes looks a bit messy, he's just a natural menace, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. So we open this up then to worldwide, all domestic leagues.
Yeah.
All domestic leagues. Okay, we've got some names here. Well, Leon Bailey's there, obviously currently playing his trade at Aston Villa.
Yeah.
You like him, don't you?
I do like him, yeah. Yeah, he's really two-footed, so he can play on either flank, he can shoot with either foot, and that makes him really difficult to defend against. On top of that, he's really quick as well. So in terms of threatening him behind, he offers that for you. He's quite creative and things like that, and yeah, I think Aston Villa have smashed it by getting him in, to be honest, because he's at that kind of, he's 26 now, so he's just kind of over the threshold, but I think he's maybe turned that age this season or something like that. But yeah, Villa have got him in, and he got in Moussa Diaby as well. He was similar in the sense that he's also really quick, also very two-footed, and also has end product to his game. So Villa have got two of them players. But I think a few years back he was getting linked to Liverpool, Leon Bailey.
So let's take a look at him on FB Ref then. So in terms of his percentiles, he's top 1 percentile versus midfielders, this is. Should I go versus attacking players and wingers?
Yeah.
Okay. So now you see the difference between the Mo Salah 99th percentiles from earlier on. Top 15% in terms of assists, he ranks really highly. In terms of expected assists, touches in the penalty area, very good. Not quite as many shot creating actions as the likes of Mo, but who does? Would he be someone that you would consider if he was of a different age?
Yeah, and I mean, at the minute it looks like Villa are going to qualify for the Champions League, mate, and things like that. So you have to factor these things in. He's already on £100 a week as well. Mind you, this is saying that he's only got a year left on his contract, which is interesting.
Ooh, okay.
That's a difficult one to believe, that, but still, anyway, I mean, I think I wouldn't say the boat sailed with that one, but it's more of a long shot than it was, I think.
Okay, well, let's go for one of the names that pops out to you. Can you see any other names on there that you're sort of looking at and thinking, let's have a little look at them?
Boniface stands out to me, but he's a striker, so it's probably worth glossing over that one quickly, because we're after a wide forward, really, aren't we?
Yeah. This guy here, Victor Gyökeres, plays at Sporting. He's over 6 foot. He's 25 years old at the moment. Currently playing in Sporting. And looking at his FB ref there, you've got to say, that looks like the type of player that we want, and it's not just in the categories that we've put in as well. Like, what are some of the ones that jump out at you on this page?
I mean, what doesn't? What doesn't, to be fair? I mean, he's in the 99th percentile against, what leagues is this compared to?
This is
the next 14 competitions, so I'm not sure if this is compared to Big 5 leagues or not. I have to double check that one. But in terms of like a lot of what he does, I mean, he's a big dribbler by the looks of it, big ball carrier over long distances, gets in the penalty box a lot, receives a lot of progressive passes, maybe has a bit of an outlet for his team. More of a creator than a scorer by the looks of it in terms of assists, expected assists, shot creating actions and stuff. A bit less on the shooting side than the XG side. But looks like a really well-rounded attacker, to be fair. And I've got to be honest, he's kind of over my head, really, in terms of he's nearly 26, but this is kind of the first time I'm really coming across his name. Don't know about you.
Yeah, I've heard his name before, but only because we look at Sporting and Benfica mainly for the defenders, and those types of players. But he's currently got 11 goals and 8 assists in 15 Premier League things. So he's overperforming his XG as well, which is again something that's very good. He's got 7.2 XG, but he scored 11 goals.
He's playing for Coventry.
What?
He was playing for Coventry City last season.
Was he? Yeah.
And he scored 21 and got 10 assists. He's a little money ball, Jimmy.
Yeah.
They've picked him up on the numbers, I'm telling you, and they brought him to Sporting, and he's still delivering by the looks of it, so he looks interesting.
That's an interesting shout. Okay, so we're going to look at more creative stats then, sort of take some of the goals off and add some more sort of creative stats in then. So we're going to start with that one.
Yeah, so there's a few general ones. Obviously assists is in there, expected assists, expected goals plus expected assists, carries into the penalty area, I'd say progressive passes received and passes into the penalty box as well. Probably good ones to include.
Why the progressive passes received?
Just because if you think of like the typical creator, say for example like a number 10 or something like that, usually they are receiving the ball in kind of, small pockets of space and things like that. That's, the spaces that we want those players to occupy. so that they can then put the ball into the box. Plus, even though Salah's not necessarily a creator, more of a scorer, he receives a lot of progressive passes anyway because he's such an outlet for the team, you know, receiving the ball high up the pitch and things like that. So, yeah, I think Klopp wants his wide players always to be outlets and they're going to receive progressive passes if they are.
Okay, so I've plugged them in, I've plugged Salah's stats in, or just the shade under Salah's stats there. Click me old get results. Well, that's disappointing, to be honest with you. It's literally just Mo Salah in a league of his own again. To be fair, I did plug his stats in, so it kind of makes sense that it's just going to be Salah, but I thought there might have been, I was hoping for Leroy Sané or something, you know what I mean? I'll knock some of these criteria down then. So expected assist was 0.4, well, I'll knock that down to 0.3, I'll knock that down to 0.2, knock that down to 0.6, knock that down to 2, knock that down to maybe 8, I don't know, 1.5, and then click me get results. Leon Bailey again, Leroy Sané again, Somerville, he came up before. That Johan Bakayoko, he's a good player, isn't he?
Yeah, he's an interesting one to include, yeah.
Okay, should we look at some of these players then?
Yeah.
Who do you want to look at first?
I'd say Bakayoko's a good shout, to be fair.
Okay.
He's still only 20. I think he's turning 21 in about 100 days. He is left-footed as well, like Mo Salah, currently playing in PSV. He's Belgian though, but he's playing for PSV at the minute. And he's kind of got similar nature about him in terms of like using his left foot to kind of cut inside, but also being a bit more of a creator than the scorer maybe for PSV. He shoots a fair bit for them, but his expected goals is not good, and that's because he shoots from outside the box a lot.
Okay.
Kind of like Harvey Elliott shots, if you know what I mean. But yeah, creates a fair bit for his teammates. His expected assists on a per 90 basis is 91st percentile. His assist is 99th percentile. And his shot creating actions is 95th percentile, which all bodes well for him. He's also a bit of a dribbler as well, and a ball carrier, 99th percentile for ball carrying, 98th percentile for successful take-ons. Wow. So, very tricky customer.
He sounds like Doku.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah, but he's not as explosive or as quick. Maybe he's a bit more, I was going to say sophisticated then.
Ooh,
that's a bit of shade.
I like it.
A bit of a dig. That's the wrong word though, isn't it? What word am I after there? A bit more,
I don't know.
Subtle, but a bit more.
Does he glide a bit more, or what are you trying to say that he does?
He just uses a bit less energy to create. He's a bit more like
fluid, or I don't know.
No, it's not the word. Sophisticated. I'm going to stick.
I like sophisticated, mate. To be honest with you, I like that. I'm going to go back into the search then. I file him under interested. Ousmane Dembele, obviously a PSG, 26 years old now, maybe a little bit out of our league. Kingsley Coman's on this list.
Another one who's been linked in the past, by the way, Kingsley Coman.
Yeah. Leon Bailey. It's not going to happen. Should we take a look at this Crescencio Somerville? For no other fact than he's playing in the Championship for Leeds and his name's Crescencio Somerville. Like two completely different words from different languages have just been thrown together for this one.
It's like a superhero first name, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Crescencio.
Crescencio. Okay, 5'8.5", so he's small. 22 years old, Josh. What else can you see there?
He's a decent player, to be fair. I've seen him play quite a few times. He is very small though, but he's quite tricky because of that. He's very agile, and if you look at his numbers, he's got a decent amount of end product to his game as well. 99th percentile so far this season, or for the past year, I think that might be, for non-penalty goals. 94th percentile for expected assists, 95th for shots, and really creative as well. Expected assist is 96th percentile, expected goals plus expected assists combined is 98th percentile, and shot creating actions 98th percentile. So he's obviously doing a lot for Leeds in the Championship, one of their talisman players by the looks of it. And yeah, he's probably attainable as well. I think he's a decent shout, but I think he's been linked recently as well, you know.
I think
I've seen his name, yeah. I don't know how credible I think he is, to be fair, but I've seen him in the talking.
If Liverpool are doing something like this, which to be fair has been quite fun, I think, and just the ability to apply that sort of, it's almost gamification of the statistics, isn't it? Because we all love Football Manager for those things. So having a reference here that works in the real world, like I did a scouting show about 3 or 4 years ago, right? And we pulled up who was the left back who was at City that went to Germany on loan or sold him, Angelino. And using this scouting thing, using FB ref stuff, I pulled up Angelino as a potential left back for Liverpool, and then City signed him. So I always find this type of stuff really fun anyway.
Yeah, I do as well. A few years back when I started at Reach, no longer employed by them.
So yeah, if you've got a job.
Yeah, give us a shout, yeah.
Hey Stathead, he's your man.
Yeah, but I remember looking into, I got asked for a list of players who look interesting in the numbers from the Championship, I think. And I don't watch the Championship. And I came up with a list. I can't remember all of them that I came up with, but one of them was definitely Eze.
Okay.
And he obviously goes on to be...
QPR at the time?
Yeah, I think he might have been, yeah. There was 1 or 2 Reading players in there. But a few of them anyway ended up in the Premier League. A few of them got signed and started playing in the Premier League. I think Callum Grant is a player. I think at the time he was at Charlton. He got signed by, I think it was Huddersfield, who were competing in the Premier League at the time. He was another one. But it's mad how just looking at the numbers gives you a really decent picture into at least the product of an attacker's game. It's interesting to look into attackers especially. I think it's much easier compared to defenders. But you do usually get a decent picture, and then you can go from there then and start watching the player, getting an insight into his personality, his contract, his wage and stuff, and then see if it makes sense for you. And this is what Klopp's always on about when he says it's got to be the right player and all this stuff. It's about getting all them green lights lined up.
Yeah. So you start off, you might filter it by the numbers, statistically, which is what we've attempted to do today. And then you're going to dive into the player, speak to the family members, all that type of stuff, and obviously video and the eyeball test comes into it. As a first thing here, I mean, we didn't look into it, but Rodrigo from Real Madrid popped up onto one of those early doors ones, which I thought was interesting. That Victor Gyökeres was an interesting shout. Crescencio Somerville, I think interesting. Leon Bailey and Johan Bakayoko. Out of the players that we've sort of shortlisted, would you be now taking a look at all of them players properly?
Yeah, I think then you would go and look at the footage, see what they look like, you know, when it comes to the playing on the pitch and things like that, and the visual test. Then you'd consider, like, you know, is he what you want in terms of your tactical system? Maybe Liverpool wants something different from the right side of the role. Once Salah goes, maybe more of a winger with a right-footed preference or something like that. But yeah, everything comes into it. There's kind of steps to it, and this is where, like, the data science department that Liverpool have got will work in conjunction with the scouts, and you kind of get this, well, it's basically a transfer committee, but when we previously had that label, nobody liked it because it weren't really particularly successful. But Klopp comes in as a bit of a silver bullet, changes everything a little bit. Edwards was there as well, changing things, and Liverpool end up becoming, you know, arguably the most efficient recruitment team in the world, largely through being fueled by this sort of thing.
Yeah, so there you go. And this is the biggest public database of football statistics available on the internet, of course. You can get involved, stathead.com, as I mentioned earlier on in the video. It is completely free at the moment. You can have some fun with it. You don't need to enter a credit card. We've just enjoyed that there. I think we found some good players. If you have a go at this, then tweet me at Mr. Blood Red and tweet Josh at Distance Covered, please. Obviously over on X. Would you post me nowadays? Tweet me on Twitter at Mr. Blood Red, and let us know who you found that could replace Mo Salah long term at Liverpool. But we do pray that that day doesn't come anytime soon. So yeah, Josh, thank you so much for joining me for this one. Big thank you to Stathead for partnering with us for this video. As you all know, we absolutely adore FB Ref, and to have this tool to be able to search quickly through its incredible database has been a real privilege. So yeah, get involved, stathead.com. Thank you for watching. Like the video and subscribe to the Redmen on YouTube. Ta-ra.
Hey, thank you so much for checking out the content today. If you want to get your name in and amongst these wonderful people, then head to redmenplus.com. Join as a legend tier subscriber. You're going to get free merchandise codes. You're going to get in our Discord, and you're going to get your name at the end of YouTube videos. Yes, redmenplus.com, legend tier status.